welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple pair of fringe earrings. Very simple, it's not bead weaving, it's just some bead stringing thread with 11/0 seed beads. Very simple to do. For materials you're going to need a size 10 beading needle, and I've got, this is a nylon size D Nymo black beading thread. You're going to need about 1.5 yards of that per earring. And I've got 2 French ear wire hooks for my earring findings and 2 little bead caps. These are kind of a cone-shaped bead cap, and these measure 6.5 by 5 by 3 millimeter in size. You're going to need some wire, and I've got that in a silver-plated brass 20 gauge. You're going to need about 3.5 inches per earring. And I've got 2 different Miyuki seed beads here, royal blue, silver-lined royal blue, and galvanized silver. And we're going to be making a real simple pair of fringe earrings today. Very easy to do. So grab your materials and let's get started. All right, you're going to start by threading your size 10 needle with about 1.5 yards of your D Nymo thread. And I'm using black today. And then we're going to prepare a wire wrap loop, just like I did this one. So you're going to take your 20 gauge wire and you're going to cut about a 3.5 inch piece, like that. Then you're going to take your flat nose pliers and you're going to come down about 1 inch, like so. And you're going to bend this 90 degrees, like that. So from here you're going to take a pair of round nose pliers, and we want to put that right at the tip because you don't want a very big loop. So I've got just barely on the tip of my pliers, I'm placing my tool right in the crook of the bend. So from here I'm going to pull the wire towards me and down, rotate my pliers towards the table, pull this straight back like so. You want to have a small loop about like that. So then I'm going to take a pair of bent nose pliers and I want to wrap this about 1.5 times. So I'm going to hold that loop with my bent nose pliers and then wrap this one to where it's got a complete wrap around, about 1.5. So right there's about good. You just want to do one pass, and then you're going to take your wire cutters and snip off that extra wire. So now you want to make sure that you push that sharp edge down. So I'm going to hold the loop with my bent nose pliers, and then I'll take my other pliers and just squeeze that sharp edge down like so. Just so that it's not sticking out. So you're going to do that for each earring, and you want to try to have them consistent size. So I did them both really small because they have to be able to fit into our little bead cap. All right, so now that we've done that, we're going to start by taking the end of our thread. So I'm going to come all the way down to the tail here, the tail of my thread, and I'm going to thread that through my loop that we just made. Now I'm going to take and do a knot. So I'm going to cross this over, do a simple knot, and then I'm going to take the tail thread and cross it over and do another knot. And this time I'm going to go through the loop twice. Tie your knot. So now we have that secured, and we're going to take our needle and we're going to start picking up some beads. So what you want to do is decide what your pattern is going to be and how long you want your earrings to be. So I'm probably going to do about a 1.5 to 2 inch fringe earring. So I'm going to just kind of gauge it. I'll measure as I go along. I'm going to start by picking up 3 of my 11/0s in silver. All right, once that I've got my 3 11/0s in silver, I'm going to bring those down. And let's see, that's going to be the top of my earring, so I'm probably going to pick up, let me pick up 3 more because that's going to be hidden. All right, so now I'm going to pick up 10 of the seed beads in royal blue. And I'm going to bring that down. Now I'm going to pick up 2 11/0s in silver. And then I'm going to pick up 10 more in the royal blue. And I'm going to measure this and see how long these are. Now that's going to be about 1.5 inches long, which I'm okay with that. I didn't want to do a very long pair, but from here I'm going to add 2, actually I'm going to add 1 11/0 silver at the bottom, like that. So that's going to be my pattern. I've got 6 silvers, 10 blues, 2 silvers, 10 blues, and 1 silver. So now that I have that on my thread, I'm going to bring my needle back up through, but you're going to skip the very last 11/0 that we added. So we're skipping this bead here, and we're going to bring our needle back up through all of the beads. And if you can't do it in one swoop, you can do it in 2 steps. So pull that all together, and if it gets caught, just pull that down. All right, I had a bit of a kink in my thread here, so I just had to get that fixed. So you're going to pull your thread through, and I've got a few more beads to go back up through. Let's get that tail out of the way. So I'm going to finish going through these last 6 silver beads right here till I'm back at my starting point. Right there. Pull that through. Now from here, I want to make sure that that's drawn up. I'm going to pull on my silver bead and then draw the thread up like so. Make sure there's no slack of thread in your pattern. So now we're going to take the tail thread and make another knot, and then cross again and make a second knot, just like that. So now we're going to thread our second tier, and I'm going to do this 3 times, and I'm going to make it all the same length. So I'm going to pick up 6 of my 11/0s in silver. Now I'm going to pick up 10 of my blue. Then I'm going to pick up 2 in silver, 10 in blue, and 1 silver. Bring those down, just like that. And now we're going to do like we did on this first one. So you're going to bring your needle, skipping the 11/0 in silver at the end, and you're going to come all the way back up through your beads, just like that. Now I'm going to hold on to the 11 at the bottom and pull my thread up. Just like that. Make sure there's no slack, but you don't want it too tight. You want it to have some drape. So now that we're back at the top, we're going to tie another knot. You're going to grab your tail thread, cross it over your working thread, bring it through the loop, and you're going to tie a knot twice. All right, so there's our second one. We're going to do one more, picking up the same pattern. So we're going to start with 6 silver, 10 blue, 2 silver, 10 blue, and 1 silver. All right, I have all of my beads strung on. Pull that all the way to the top. And we're going to do the same thing, skipping the last silver bead in the group, and you're going to bring your needle back up through all of the beads. Make sure you don't skip any. All right, coming near the top here, pulling that together. Make sure there's no slack in your thread. Now we're going to do one more knot twice. Tie another knot. And I'm going to bring this through the loop twice. Like so. Now from here I'm going to bring my needle back down through one of my strands. So I'm going to come down a few beads like so. Feed that through. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this thread. All right, and now I'm going to cut off the remainder of this thread here. And you don't have to be right at the knot, just leave a little bit because it's going to be hidden by the bead cap. And I'll cut this other piece off right here, like so. Now we're going to take our eye pin and thread that through our bead cap, like that. After I did that wire wrap with the small bail, I realized that this bail is actually going to be a little too small, so we're going to do a modification here. So this is a correction to the end of this video. Instead of using this little bead cap, and I realized because it was going to be showing I needed something just slightly longer, so we're going to be doing a redo on wrapping this, but using a longer shaped cone. So we're not going to be using this one. This one's a little bit longer. It's like a 14 millimeter by 5, about twice the length of this one. So we're going to, instead, after you've completed stringing your beads, as we did, attached to your self-made eye pin, we're going to pass this through the bead cap like so, and it's going to have just enough silver showing to give it a balanced look. So from here I'm going to add the Bicone crystal. Like that. So that gives it a nicer appearance and you don't have any thread showing. The other Bicone, the other bead cap was just a little too short, so my apologies. We're going to go with this one that's a little bit longer. So from here I'm going to do my wire wrapping by placing my skinny pliers over the crystal, making sure it's all flush, and I'm going to bend this 90 degrees. Just like that. Now you're going to take your round nose pliers, and I'm going to come about 1/3 of the way. You don't need a very big loop. And I'll grab my other pliers and we'll do a loop, bringing the wire towards you, down towards the table. rotate your pliers towards the table and then pull the wire straight back. Just like that. And you should have enough room to do a wrap without getting too close to your crystal. So from here, I'm going to take my bent nose pliers, hold onto the loop, and then I'm going to wrap this wire and it's trying to get away from me here, so we're going to push this up. And try not to crack your crystal. So continue wrapping. Two and a half to 3 wraps should be good. And you just want to be able to snip this to where it's not too close to your crystal. So I'm going to push that up a little bit. Grab my wire cutters and just give that a quick snip. Now I'm going to hold on to this and grab my other pliers, or you can use your crimp tool, and just squeeze that rough edge in, just to get that out of the way. So that's what you should have, nice looking wire wrap with a decorative crystal at the top. And now we can put our earring hook on. Twist the earring hook opening towards you, place your earring on and close. Very simple. So there is our completed simple fringe earrings. Aren't those gorgeous? And you can do, you know, any kind of pattern you want. If you want to mix it up, you could do one with multicolored seed beads, or you can make them a little longer. Now the finished length on these ended up being about 1 3/4 inches from where the earring finding ends, so that's not too terribly long. You could go really long. I've seen some ladies make theirs as long as 3 inches if you like really dramatic long earrings. But very simple to do, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video today. So you've got a lot of versatility with designing any pair in any color that you want. This concludes today's tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I want to thank you for joining me today. I'll have links in the description box below with all the products used in today's tutorial. I also have a website where I sell my own jewelry. You'll see these and many other creations for sale. Feel free to check it out. If you're not a subscriber, I hope you do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload new videos. And please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear feedback from you on what you think of some of these tutorials. I want to thank all of you that have subscribed and you keep coming back to watch my videos. And thank you so much for sharing your link. I really do appreciate that. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Happy beading, and I'll see you next time.